Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to Chronicles of a Crafter. So today we're going to pick up where we left off from Friday, I believe it was. I mean, these days are starting to blur. But we need to make a cover for our signature that I created. So here are the signatures already in their little jackets and ready to go. We need to make a book cover for that journal that I was commissioned to make for someone to give as a gift for the holidays. So here I have my chipboard. I'm not sure what I'm going to wrap this in yet, but I need the base in order to get this process started. I've also cut a 2-inch strip of chipboard for the spine, and then I measured up against the against this little piece of chipboard how far over each one of the signatures will go and how well they'll fit in this little section right here. And I think these 3 signatures will fit in there really well. So we're going to go with the 2-inch spine on this project. Okay, so I'm going to cut down. I have a 12 by 12 sheet of chipboard. I marked my little 9-inch markings on from the top or from the bottom to 9 inches, and I'm going to just cut that off. That'll be my excess pieces. And yeah, and then we can get some wrapping on these pieces of chipboard to create a book cover for that journal. Now 12 by 12, this chipboard was cut into half, and like I mentioned before, my books are normally 6 by 9 because an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, when folded in half, will fit perfectly into a 6 by 9 book with very little overhang. Actually, there'll be no overhang because we scored those edges off and made them nice and flush. So here are my 2 front and back covers of the journal. They evenly equal 6 by 9, and somewhere here is my spine. Okay, so that'll go in here. So basically what I do to start a junk journal, I move my cutting I move my guillotine out of the way and I just basically just line it up on my craft mat, just giving myself about 1/8 of an inch between each piece of the chipboard, and yeah, just playing around with the layout and the setting, you know, how they're going to be set together in the book. So yeah, I just play around with it until I get it like exactly where I want it. I think 1/8 of an inch is plenty. What you're trying to accomplish with 1/8 of an inch space in between is that there's no hindrance when you open and close the book. This is my book guard tape. I'm not sure if it's in my link down below, but I will try to remember to put it in the description box on my list of links. But this is just some book tape. Bookmakers use this tape. This is what you'll find the majority of books are made with nowadays. Books aren't normally glued together anymore. They're taped. And this is some really, really strong tape. And it will hold this book together with no problem whatsoever. Now we have to decide, what is this book about? Like, okay, so I have here my rice paper signatures. In here I've also tucked in all of my scrap pieces that I'm going to use for borders and such. So this is going to a nurse. I think I mentioned that to y'all, that I was commissioned by a nurse to make a book for a nurse. So yeah, I'm going to figure out like what, you know, first of all, you got to understand who's your target audience for this particular project, and what can I possibly make the book cover out of besides chipboard. All right, it has to get wrapped in something. So I'm gonna rummage through my fabric and see what I've got. All right guys, so I went to my email and I'm just really checking to see like what are the items that is almost required for this journal. The nurse that wants me to make it says that her friend is into flowers and butterflies and bumblebees. Okay, so that's really right up my alley. So yeah, I'm just reading through the email just to see like what is it that I need to definitely incorporate into this process, and also like her favorite color. She says that she always wears floral scrubs, so nurses wear scrubs to work, as you may know. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick out like 1 or 2 fabrics that will complement this book and the person that's receiving it. So alright, so I've decided that I'm just going to rip it. I've basically cut it a little bit larger than the 14 inches that it needs to be. So I've given it 2 inches on each side so that it can wrap all the way around. And the top and bottom is going to be just so ever so tight. Like I have to get this perfectly where I need it. In order for this to work, I have to get just enough on the top and enough on the bottom. Otherwise, this will not come out right. So let's just figure this out. I'm going to glue stick the inside of the fabric down. I'm using let's use Scotch Create. If there's any left on here, whew, very little. I'm going to use Fabrifix to do the rest of this. What I want to do first is figure out which is my top and my bottom of this fabric, which is really non-directional if you think about it, but there is a flow to it. So here we go. I'm going to use this side as the front cover and then this side as the back. I'm just going to cut this side off so that it's even to the other side. It just looks like there's a little bit more fabric over here than there is on the other side. Okay, so everything seems to be where it needs to be. I'm gonna cut a little tiny triangle here, just as I do on my other books. Just cutting the triangle off to reduce the bulk. I used to do like the you know, I don't know what it's called. It's like a bed sheet tuck or something like that. Yeah, I just find like this way is a lot easier, and I reduce a lot of the bulk in the corners of my books, because sometimes I like to add little book cover corners, and they don't want to go over such big bulky corners. So I'm just gonna fold over my book here just a little bit to get the fabric to mold itself into its permanent position. And there we go. I made that work. I don't know how, but I made that that quarter of a yard fabric work for this process. Oh, what a pretty strip. I can use that somewhere. So here's the rest of the fabric. And of course you have to line the inside just as much as you've done the outside, right? So this is going to go on the inside here as the inside lining to the book. But I think what I want to do first is give the book its closures. So I'm going to add the closures here on the inside of the book before I put the top lining on. So I'm thinking that I want to use some of these colors here. I have plenty of ribbon that I can use for the closures, and what I'll do is I will stitch that together. I would also run a seam, a stitch all the way around this so that there's no fraying of the fabric. So I'll take this over to my sewing machine and just put a little hem on here and get that stitched all the way around. And then I'll find, oh, maybe I can use some of this fabric as part of the closure. Yeah, I can probably use something like this to create that ribbon to tie the book up once it's closed. So I will go take care of that, and yeah, I'll be back in 2 ticks. Alright guys, so I took my inner fabric to my sewing machine and I stitched a zigzag stitch all the way around the edges with a little hem. And I also put on these little straps that I'm gonna use as the closure once we get to that part. So the only thing left to do now is to glue this down right in place on the inside of the cover, and I'm gonna use Fabrifix glue for that. I already started doing this part, and then I was like, oh, let me tell y'all what I did. So yeah, I started to put down the Fabrifix glue, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to turn back on my camera. So here we go. I am just putting in some Fabrifix all along the edges of the inside cover of the book, and my Fabrifix is taking a little bit long to come out, so I'm actually looking for my other Fabrifix. I hope this one is not as clogged and comes out a little bit easier. Because I need to, every so often you need to open up that Sugar Bell icing piping tip off the bottle and clear out what's in there, because it does get clogged. So, and then you get a much easier stream of glue to work with. So I'm just going to go on one side, very slowly applying the glue in the spaces that I need it to be applied, and I'm going to just get as much of it as possible on here. And I think I'm going to use my little silicone spatula to smush this out, because I don't want any lumps or bumps underneath the fabric. So let me just grab my silicone spatula. as you can see, I've spent plenty of time going through all of my eyelets and pulling out my crocodile. I could not find enough of these rose gold brassy looking eyelets in the extra large size, so I ended up going with just regular gold. I think that'll still tie into the floral prints, and yeah, I just spent a lot of time going over like how I want to finish up this book cover. I'm gonna go with the gold corner protectors on here, and I do have some gold bullnose clips and some other embellishments to go in it. So let's just wrap this up. I did mark my spine for where I'm going to punch my holes. On a 9-inch spine, I went at what did I do? I did 3/4, 4.5, and then 8 1/4, and then across the side of the spine I did 1/2 inch, 1, and then 1.5. So those would be my marks that I make these holes with the Crocodile 2. I'm using the 3/4 inch, I'm sorry, 3/16 of an inch hole punch, and I'm just going to use this as it is designed to be used. I'm just going to punch holes directly into the spine this way. used this book plate, and I will just spray paint it gold to match the brads that I pulled out of my stash. I think this book plate looks really good. It's a good size for this book, and I think the book turned out really good. The spray paint will cover up this book plate very well, and then I'll just lay it on top of the lace that I cut to size, and yeah, I think the book came out great. So yeah, I think this is where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out my links down below and give this video a thumbs up if you like the content. Don't forget to also subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you're aware of every time I upload a new video. So thank you guys for watching my video. I will definitely talk to y'all in the next one. All right, bye.